Brian, namaste. Welcome to a very special episode of Stalwarts of Music with Aditya Veera, season 4. And it is indeed a total honor in
Thank you.
also continuing my association with the NCPA, doing a NCPA Jazz Festival special podcast every year. And then we are repeating it and continuing the tradition this year with some legends such as you. Thank
And
you once again for gracing this show with your presence.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, having gone through your body of work in no particular order, I had some interesting questions, and I hope you find them intriguing too, right?
Well,
Yeah. So, Brian, you've
I have a lot
often
of work. I must be really old.
not at all, not at all. Well, of course, the work, the body of work is so extravagant, and I can speak on and on for hours together, in no particular order. But just out of curiosity, I was just going through a couple of articles and things like that, and one common strand across all of that was the fact that you've often said that the bass is the foundation. Yet in your music, the bass often sings and leads melodically. So, how do you reconcile those two worlds being both the foundation and the front voice at uh, at a lot of
That's a great
occasions?
question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. And my answer would be I do them both at the same time. Meaning, on my records, depending upon if you're talking about the contemporary electric records where I do a lot of overdubs and I'm playing many different electric basses,
Right.
or if I'm just playing the upright bass, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're talking about, well, so in my statement, if I'm playing multiple bass parts on a song,
Hmm.
because that's how the song is, because I play basses with different tunings.
Yeah.
A lot of the basses I play sound like guitar. It's actually bass. I just tune it up to the register of a guitar.
Correct.
If you pay attention to the actual bass parts of the songs, they are very simple and very foundational.
Hmm.
You know, the bass is the bottom up, and but like you can't build a building from the 14th floor. You
Right.
have to build a foundation, and then you can build the tallest building in the world, right? The
Sure.
base is the foundation. But over the years, bass players have developed into soloists and people who can sing on their instrument and develop facility on their instrument, different tunings, different ideas, different things. And you've got the ability as a bass player to do both now. But my role as a bass player, if somebody hires me to play on a record, or if I do a performance with somebody, I'm being hired to play the foundation. I'm being hired to play the bass, the bottom, the harmonic and the melodic and the rhythmical foundation. That's the thing about the bass that's cool. Drums is drums, it's rhythm.
Mm.
But bass is harmony and rhythm. The bass
Yeah.
is truly the core, the center of all music.
Mm.
Because I play one note, I move my finger a half step, I screw up everybody, right? So it's like it's all on me to play the right note, but also have the foundation and the bottoms to build the music on top of. So it's truly kind of doing both roles at the same time.
Very well said, in terms of calling it a foundational effort. And for someone so seasoned, having played across so many different projects, has your view of what makes a great bass line changed with time, Brian?
Um, that's a really interesting question. I would say that anything anything that's played that grabs your attention, right? Whether it's Led Zeppelin, or the Beatles, or Def Leppard, or Johnny Cash, whatever. It doesn't matter what the music is.
Right, right.
Ravi Shankar. It doesn't matter. If something grabs your attention, it jumps out at you. Bass lines, some bass lines can be very strong and jump out. I think for me, I maybe I look at them differently in the sense that there's a time and place for everything.
Mm.
And as long as the bass line is appropriate for the music, then it's cool and it's awesome. But just to do something for the sake of doing it, I think over my years of making more music and growing up and maturing as a person and as a musician, I think less is more in the
Mm.
sense of if you're going to do it, make it right, make it simple, make it clean, make it powerful, so it grabs you, but it still doesn't take you away from what the music is. Unless it's a bass-centric thing and you're just going crazy, which is fine too. But it's like if it's just a bass line of a song, you want the bass line to make sense, but you also want it to be unforgettable, right?
Mm.
I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't think I don't think about bass lines unless it's part of the song or something that's really important or something that's really cool. You know,
Mm.
when I write a song, unless there's a very specific bass part or line, the song comes first, the bass comes second.
Okay.
You know, it's about the song.
But how does it work when you tend to layer multiple basses that you play, be it the fretless bass or the piccolo in some of your productions? So how do you decide on what role is each of these instruments? What role are they going to serve, and how they need to be arranged? How does that function?
You know, a lot of times I'll just hear it and know it intuitively. Like I hear a part, I know what it is, right? And then sometimes it's trial and error. Like that's the beauty of music and the beauty of production and the beauty of composition.
Right.
You know, it still is an art form and there is no rule, you know, even though there's rules in music. That's what's cool about, you know, like, well, let me try this. What does this sound like? Well, let me try that. Oh, that's cool. Nah, that doesn't work. The
Right.
creative process, you know, half the time I'll hear it in my head. I know exactly what I want. That's it. The other half of the time, I have no clue what I want, you know, and then I experiment with different instruments and different things until it's like, oh, wow, that really works, or that's cool, or blah, blah, blah. And then there's the end result. So it's really an interesting journey
Yeah.
that, you know, sometimes I know exactly what I want to do, and other times it's just a blank palette and a blank canvas, and I
Mm.
try different things, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't.
Right.
Hopefully you end up with what's right, you know.
Right, right. Well,
Does that make
continuing,
sense?
yeah, yeah, it sure does make sense. But then I'm trying to understand as to how your process is when it comes to this particular idea. So
Mhm.
probably adding on to that thought, while orchestrating for say multiple bass voices. Do you think of register the same way as a classical arranger might think of voicing in, say, string or horns or whatnot?
Well, you have to, the way I think about it is it's like horizontal music and vertical music. And you've got low notes and high notes. Within that, you have all the instruments,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
Now, the thing about music that's beautiful is that you have all these instruments and all these people playing at the same time,
Yeah,
but there's space for everybody.
correct.
So I don't want to think about register, right?
Mm,
If you think
mm.
about a note,
Yeah,
where the note is. If there's a note here, I don't want to put three other notes here at the same time. You
yeah.
want to put it here and here
Mm,
and here.
mm.
So everybody has a spot. It's like looking at a building and look at all the windows. Each window has its own view, its own space, right?
Sure.
You don't want to do this.
Right.
So it's important when I play the different basses or in any production, whether it's saxophone, piano, guitar, trumpet, it doesn't matter. When you have instruments playing a similar function at the same time in the same register, it's clash. You want to make sure that, well, if the piano's doing this, you want to make sure the guitar is doing this so they're not fighting each other, right?
Mm,
So
mm.
everybody has a home in the music. And I do the same thing with the basses. I'll play the low part for the foundation for the bottom, like we talked about.
Sure.
And then I'll play the other voices on top of that so they don't clash. They're not in the same register.
Correct.
Therefore, I can play multiple basses at the same time and
Mm.
you'd never know it because they don't fight each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of hearing and understanding each instrument's role, each melodic part's role. You know, I did a record that was really fun for me because it was completely out of my normal world, but I did a Jimi Hendrix tribute called
Sure.
Bromberg Plays Hendrix.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and I'm a big Jimi Hendrix fan, even though I'm a jazz bass player. But I
correct.
love Jimi Hendrix. He was just brilliant. And I wasn't going to do the record. It wasn't even my idea, to be honest with you. But two different record company presidents
Uh-huh.
from two different countries independently told me, "Yeah, you should do a Jimi Hendrix record." I'm like, "What? He's a guitar player. I mean, come on, you know." And
Yeah,
then so it was a guy from New York and then a guy from Tokyo, Japan, a record company in Japan. When they both said I should do a Jimi Hendrix record, I was like, okay, they're seeing something or they know something or they're hearing something that I don't,
right,
because this is two completely different cultures at the same time, right? The
right.
whole the whole long-winded point of that is that on the record, the entire record is just me and Vinnie Colaiuta, the amazing drummer.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
It's just two of us. But all of it is me overdubbing the basses and stacking and building like we talked about. And the
Mm,
whole point and what I'm really proud of on the record is that every instrument, every bass, every sound has its own space in the music. So
mm,
it sounds like music. It doesn't sound like a whole bunch of bass players or a whole bunch of bass overdubbed on top of each other. The whole point is that you've got all these different levels of sounds and registers and different instruments, different tunings and different vibes. None of them fight each other.
mm,
So that was like a big exercise for me in really seeing and understanding how can I do all these parts but make it musical, because the music always comes first. They don't
mm,
fight each other because they're in different registers. And it was great. It was really rewarding. I had so much fun doing it. It was great. Plus,
mm.
I got to shred. I got to rock out. It was really cool.
Well, we'll talk more about it. Uh, but then, yeah, you spoke about listening and developing an ear for understanding these things. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you listen to so many different mixes, right? During the process. So when you listen to a particular mix, what's the first thing that you focus on? What's your process like?
Well, that's a great question, because there's a huge, huge difference in being a producer
Yeah,
and being a musician.
right,
Those are two completely different things.
correct.
And especially in jazz, because in jazz, the level of musicianship individually is so high,
Mm,
and the players are so, you know, myopic in the sense of it's me, 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 me. You're playing, you're doing all this amazing stuff. Whatever instrument you play, they're very focused on what they're doing in that moment. Sax players playing over changes, how you're going to, it's all about that moment of spontaneous creativity.
yeah.
They think one dimensionally.
Mm,
When you mix and you produce, you think 360 degrees. You
right.
don't think one dimensionally. You
Yeah,
think of
yeah.
everything.
Mm,
So what I've learned over the years in mixing and in production is the palette is, if I stand in front of a tree and the tree is right here, I can't see the beautiful forest that the tree is in. But if I step back, I can see this beautiful panoramic view of the forest and the mountain and the stream and everything, right? So
mm,
production and mixing is about standing back and listening to everything,
mm, mm,
everything.
mm,
A shaker, a tambourine, a triangle, piano, bass, drums. It doesn't matter what it is. Your responsibility is to balance all of it musically, volume wise, and in the stereo spectrum from, left to right, right to left, where each instrument lives. You listen in headphones, you can hear that something's on the right or something's on the left. Well, when you mix, it's your responsibility to put stuff there and to make it musical. And and again, it's about giving each individual instrument a home. They have their space. They are in this quadrant of the music. When you do it right, you hear everything together in this one big picture, and it's a wonderful thing. So I try to, I don't, when I mix and when I get into production and I think about music, I don't think about being a bass player. The bass is just part of
mm,
it.
mm,
I
mm.
don't even think about the bass. It's the whole big picture. And I think that's where a lot of jazz musicians don't think that way, because all they do is try to be the greatest player they can. And I totally get it. My whole world changed living in Los Angeles, getting involved in production, doing sessions, working with great people. All of a sudden, I started like learning a whole other thing. And then in a way, the bass playing became secondary to the music. The music always
Right,
comes first. When I tell people about myself, I'm a person first, musician second, bass player third. And it's really the truth
Mm.
because nothing happens without us,
Right.
right? And we're in music, and within music, I happen to play the bass. So person first, musician second, bass player third.
Very, very beautifully put across. I'd like to now cover the performance aspect. In the previous question, you had spoken a little bit about waiting patiently and holding back, right? So when you record or perform, what tells you that a bass line is doing too much? Is there an internal cue or a feeling that helps you know when to stop playing and let the song breathe? Because I've heard a lot of them say you need to let the song breathe.
Yeah.
What do
Well,
they
it's
mean?
like
Yeah.
think of a conversation, right?
Mm.
Do you want to be yelling at each other all the time? Right?
Not at
Is it
all.
just
That's a bad idea.
right?
Yeah.
No, it's give and take, it's conversation, it's
Yeah.
air,
Mm.
space. There's a lot of drama in space in music. There's a lot of drama and emotion and power in silence in music. It's captivating. I think a lot of it too is that if you play too much,
Hmm.
you leave no space for somebody else, and it gets too busy and too complicated. And unless it's a very specific part that's there for a reason, which is cool, but it's not usually going to be the entire song. There's going to be breakdown sections where you slow down and you build. So, when you think about a solo or a song in development, you want to develop it. You don't want to just start, you don't get into a car and turn it on and floor it,
Mm.
right? It's like you let it breathe and develop. And I think taking that where the music is up and down and up and down, that journey is listening to others, creating the peaks and valleys. That's the beauty of music and the beauty of the art of music, and knowing when to do what and how to do it, and listening to the people around you, right?
Mm.
And it's amazing that if I change what I play, the whole band changes,
Correct.
right? So I can really define what the music's going to be by what I'm doing. If I'm going crazy all the time, there's no room for anything else. But if
Yeah.
I start and build air and space and allow it to breathe, then we can build together as a unit. And I think listening is a huge part of that. And then I
Mm.
think you just
Mm.
intuitively know what to do and what not to do. The other thing that helped me develop that was, just playing on, hundreds and hundreds of records,
Yeah.
because when you record, it doesn't lie. You know, you hear what you're doing. Sometimes you're great and sometimes you're not. It's like you hear it. So when you hear, oh, wow, I played too much there, let me fix that, you can tell that what you're doing is too much or too busy in that point of the music because you want the music to be able to develop and grow.
Right.
It's like telling a story. I don't want to start a story by telling you the ending, right? I want to
Yeah.
tell you the story. And in the story, I want you to laugh. I want you to cry. I want you to be intrigued. I want you to question. I want you to find peace. I want you to be mad. It's a
Mm.
story. I want to touch all those different emotions. You don't want to just go bleh and that's it. You have to build and develop. Use your ears, listen who you're playing with, start and then you build together. It's a wonderful experience when it happens. When it happens spontaneously, it's great.
This whole idea of building a narrative, I've seen that a lot in some of the more experienced set of not just bass players but musicians
Yeah, of
doing
course.
that right. But if we were to talk about present day, a lot of the young blood is focused on showing a lot of immense technical ability, uh, more of speed, right?
Sure.
How do you personally define virtuosity, Brian?
Well, there's many different types of virtuosity, but you bring up a really good point, and I think one of the how do I say this without making people mad? Um, in the era I grew up in,
Right.
because I was born in 1960,
Mm.
so in the era I grew up in, there was no internet,
Yeah.
there was no YouTube, There was no technology. There were no laptop computers. There were no apps. There were no cell phones. We had to learn an instrument and we had to play together with people.
Mm.
And we had to practice on our own and do everything ourselves in the moment.
Right.
We earned where we got, so to speak, because we learned from nothing and created it individually and mastered the music and to be able to communicate with the other musicians, because everything we did was playing with other people. Now you have a whole generation of young people that have never played music with another human being,
Mm.
and they get their guitar or their bass and they go on the computer and they sit in their room all day long and practice so they can just go and do all this amazing stuff,
Yeah.
and they can't do anything else. Or most of them can't. I shouldn't say they all can't. Meaning they don't know how to play with other people. They don't know
Mm.
how to read chord changes. They don't know music theory. They don't understand certain things because they spend all their time completely honing one skill or their skill to this unbelievable. I mean, it's incredibly impressive. But if you think about what music is, how many of those people are going to get called to play in a band or to do a gig or to play on a record as a sideman?
True.
Are you going to call somebody that does that like better than any human being on the planet and that's all they do? Or are you
Mm.
going to call somebody that can play any style of music, read a chart, do what needs to be done, and play the function of the instrument, whatever the instrument is? So the thing is that you've got all these people that are just like ridiculously good technically, but they don't have the skill set. Most of them don't have the skill set that you need to be a successful professional working musician, because they
Mm.
don't play with musicians. They don't play with people. They just sit in their room and practice, which is great. But how are they going to monetize that? How are they going to earn a living doing that? And what is the joy of doing that compared to the joy of playing music with people for people,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
That's the thing. So I think it's amazing, and some of the technical prowess is just insane. On the flip side, I wish they would go jam with friends. I wish they would go play a standard. I wish they would play slow notes. It's like experience all of what music and all of what your incredible facility can bring you versus just sitting in your room working on lick after lick after lick. It's amazing. But what else do you bring to the music and to the instrument? That's what concerns me for their future in music.
Mm. Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. I agree because I've seen a lot of young musicians who are just incredibly talented because they've invested hours together in honing their craft, but then
Yeah.
they lack exposure when it comes to jamming with real bands and real musicians, which doesn't help them create a narrative or any of that, right?
Yeah,
So
and
where
some,
have those storytellers disappeared?
some of them,
Yeah,
some of them actually do play, and some of them are pretty amazing. And there's a whole new generation of jazz musicians that are like really great
right,
and will have wonderful careers. But that's the exception, not the rule.
right.
Like what I was saying, when I grew up in a small city,
Hmm.
big town, small city.
Correct.
I played every style of music you could possibly think of playing, because every hotel had a bar with a band,
Mm.
because there were no DJs, there were no TVs, big screen TVs, there was no internet.
Yeah.
There were musicians working all the time, because
Mm.
there
Mm.
was nothing else.
Yeah.
So I grew up playing every style of music possible because I had to work, and there was a lot of work. And I grew up with that experience and that education of playing all this different stuff, which helped me become a well-rounded musician and person in a sense too, right?
Mm.
Those experiences don't really exist anymore. And
Mm.
that's why you have these people that sit in their room and practice and become complete virtuoso freaks on their instrument, kind of doing one thing, which nobody could do back in my day.
Mm.
But we could all work and do anything, anytime, anywhere,
Yeah.
and they can't. So it's a completely different thing. So
Harmonic, yeah.
for the young musician that practices all day long, like I used to, I practiced. I was just like them. I just practiced and practiced and practiced to try to be the best player I could be. But I was also working 5 to 7 nights a week, playing jazz, playing country, playing rock, playing, classical. I played everything, So I did my serious practicing, and I also had the experience of playing all this different kind of music. So for all you young, amazing virtuoso freaks, start playing with people. Go
Mm,
jam,
mm,
just even your friends, just go have fun, start using your ability to make music. Just because you
yeah.
can play an amazing guitar solo doesn't mean you're a musician. It means
Mm.
you can play an amazing guitar solo, right?
Limited to that. Yeah.
Go be a musician. That's why I say person first, musician second, instrumentalist third. Go be the complete thing, don't just do one thing, you
Mm,
know.
mm, mm. Brian, you spoke a little bit about identity, right? Building an identity, along with the fact that this remains to be the foundation. You're someone who spent decades refining your setup, yet your tone seems to be consistent across different bass setups, be it the upright or the electric or the piccolo bass. So, what do you think actually defines your tone? Is it the fingers, the gear, or the concept behind the sound?
Hmm. Um, it's more than a one part answer.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm happy to
so
hear. Yeah.
I will say it this way: 99% of anyone's tone
Hmm.
is this. Your sound is you, comes out of your fingers. Your sax. How many sax players play the same Selmer Mark 6 with the same reed, and they all sound different? Why did Stan Getz sound like Stan Getz and John Coltrane sound like John Coltrane?
Mm,
They play the same instrument because of them. They're the sound. Your body is the sound. Just like on an instrument, your hands are your sound,
mm,
which
mm,
is why I can pick up an instrument and sound like me. Now, if the setup isn't comfortable for me, I'm not going to be able to play it well. But if I play a few notes, it's still going to sound like me because my sound comes out of my hands.
mm.
So that's number one. Number two, when I practice electric bass, I don't plug it in.
Okay.
I don't practice with an amp.
Okay.
Here's your
Interesting.
sound. I want my relationship to be with my instrument. That's me. It's not a piece of gear. I'll tell you something else, and this sounds funny, but it's really the truth. If you don't have a good sound on your instrument and you plug it into an amp and turn it up, you have a much louder, not good sound, right? Because the amplifier, doesn't know what it's getting. It just makes it louder,
Mm,
right? So if your sound isn't good out of your hands, all the amp is going to do is turn up your bad sound. So you can't rely on an amplifier to make yourself sound good. Your sound is your body and your relationship with your instrument, right? So that's number one.
hmm.
Now, equipment can make a difference. The better the instrument, the more it sings, the more comfortable it is to play, the better you're going to be able to play it. That all plays a part. The type of strings you use, whether it's stainless steel or nickel, flat wounds, fretted, fretless, those are very tangible things that change the sound.
Right.
But I could play all of those and you'd still go, oh, that's Brian, because you
Mm,
know what I sound like, right?
right.
That comes from this, right? So I think the key is that we develop a relationship with our instrument, and that's where the sound comes from. Everything else just enhances what we do. It's
Mm,
still up to us to develop a sound on the instrument because, like I said, all it's going to do is turn up your sound and make it louder. If it's a good sound, it's going to sound great. If it's not a good sound, it's going to be a louder, bad sound. And that's the truth. You have to have a relationship with your instrument, with your own body, with your own hands.
mm,
So I think, you know, obviously the better equipment you have is better, right? The better your setup is on any instrument is better, right? Because it's more efficient, it's more balanced, it's easier to play, it's more comfortable. But the bottom line is you. You are your sound. And I think sometimes people don't remember that. or they don't know that, or they forget it. It's like it's your relationship with your instrument is what all of this equipment embellishes. It just makes what you do louder. Now, yes, there's a big difference in sound of speaker types and speaker cabinets and power amplifiers and preamps and tweeters and not all that makes a huge difference. But it's still reproducing what you are giving it, which is your sound, which is in your hands or your mouth or whatever instrument you play. They all play the same instrument and they sound completely different, right?
Well,
Jaco Pastorius and Marcus Miller played Fender jazz basses, right?
right,
They sound completely different.
different. Yeah, of course.
There you go.
And speaking of an efficient setup, right? I know it can be subjective from
Mhm.
different contexts, but what is a versatile, efficient setup for someone like you?
What instrument, what application, right? It's about comfort. For
Mm,
me, it's comfort.
mm,
I've had years of tendon damage and doctors and pain and all this stuff, because of overdoing it.
mm.
It's about what is comfortable, what feels good to you. I don't want to fight my instrument to play it.
Okay.
I have X number of energy, right? I have an energy quotient. I don't want to put all my energy into playing the instrument. I want to put my energy into playing the music on the instrument. So if I'm fighting my instrument, it's taking away from my ability to play as good as I can play. So setup is very important. You want it to be comfortable. I don't want to be fighting my instrument. I don't want to be going for notes that I can't hit because of the design of the instrument. I
Mm,
don't want I don't want it to be uncomfortable to play when I'm trying to do something if it's going to affect my ability to play it.
right.
So
Right.
setup is very important to me. But once it's comfortable and set up and everything is consistent, it's all up to me. I still have to learn how to play it. I just don't
Speaking,
want to fight it.
right, right. I understand that. But speaking of brands, you have uh, a wide variety of them, and being an ambassador for the instrument, you have so many different brands ranging from, like, say, a Fender to a Yamaha versus a lot of other instrument brands. So, what is your current setup, which you are most comfortable playing?
Well, I can play any of them, but like this is my design,
Okay.
and the company's called Kiesel.
Kiesel.
You
Okay.
can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
of
It
course,
used
the
to be
guitars.
Carvin.
Right.
Yeah, but this is my design. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's my signature model.
Okay.
Although I didn't want my name on it, so it's just got my little squiggly, my signature on it.
Ah,
Um,
nice.
so it's a standard electric bass
Right.
with thought, like it balances perfectly,
Mm,
right?
mm,
It's comfortable. 24 frets, right?
mm-hmm.
Well, I can reach the 24th fret by this cutout. I don't hit. How many guitars do you play where the body stops and you got all these frets that you can't reach?
Right.
What's the point of that? It doesn't make sense. Well, here I can totally reach the 24th fret comfortably,
Mm,
you know. Um, this goes over your leg, so it just sits there and balances, so it's comfortable to play. It's just things about it that I try to make it user friendly. I don't know
mm-hmm.
if you can see it, but the pickups are radiused, they're
Correct.
round
Correct.
to
Very
match
well.
the same as the fingerboard.
Right.
So it's comfortable. That comes from the acoustic bass, the upright bass.
Mm,
So why would I want to play on a flat pickup where the inner strings are higher than the other strings? I want everything to be even and comfortable. So I
right.
put a lot of thought into this to make it user friendly and comfortable. So this is what I play. It's still based off a traditional bass,
Mm, mm, mm.
and it sounds like a traditional bass. It's just really good. It's high quality electronics. It's you know, it's 18 volts. It's three band EQ. I mean, there's things about it that make a lot of sense in a user situation. But the bottom line is comfort. The weight is comfortable. The balance is good. The reach is good. So if you
Nice.
if you think about things to make your job easier and more efficient,
Mm-hmm.
then it all boils down to me. It's up to me to play well. So the better my instrument is, the easier it is to play, the more pressure it puts on me to play it well because I'm not fighting my instrument now. I have no excuse. Now I just have to practice and get good, right? So I try to use my mind and think about these things where I want it to be comfortable. All these different, all these different brands that you mentioned, they all build great instruments,
Correct. Correct.
There's nothing wrong with any of them. They're all great. Any instrument can be played better than anybody will ever be able to play it.
Yeah.
So they're all great. It's just what gravitates towards you.
Mm.
Why do you want an instrument C out of A, B, C, D, and E? Is it the look? Is it the price? Is it the color? Is it the feel? Is it, you got to decide what you want. But the bottom line is they're all good, you know?
Mm. Mm. Well,
What's comfortable for you? That's what you have
right,
to
right.
figure. Yeah.
Well, you could do all of these custom modifications within the scope of an electric bass, but I presume you weren't able to do much in terms of the upright bass, or were you able to tweak that also to make it more comfortable to play? Because that's more of a very physically enduring instrument, right?
It is. It's much, much harder to play.
Yeah, yeah.
But my setup is really comfortable
Hmm.
um, because I made it that way
Oh,
and I
okay.
approach it the same way. I don't
Right.
want to fight my bass to play it.
Hmm.
And you got to understand that the upright bass has been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, there was only classical music.
Hmm.
That was it. There weren't rock bands, there weren't jazz groups, there weren't amplifiers,
Yeah.
people weren't plucking and going crazy. They were playing with a bow, and setups were completely different. Strings were really high, they were gut strings, there was a lot of flex. It was like all this stuff. So over the instrument, things have, I mean, over time, the instrument has evolved. Technology has evolved, setup has evolved. The music has evolved. Strings have evolved. Now they're
Right.
now they're steel strings,
Yeah.
different things. So for me, it's like, again, I'm the one that has to play it. I want to be comfortable playing it. I
Hmm.
also don't want to hurt myself anymore because when I was younger, I played too fast, too hard, too long, and ended up hurting myself. I wasn't tremendously responsible in how I was thinking about playing. And so I spent a lot of time on my setup on the acoustic bass, making sure it's comfortable for me. I've
Okay.
been involved with many different pickup designs. I've got a prototype pickup on my bass now.
Hmm.
I like the technology. I like the evolution of the technology. I like trying to keep pushing things forward. And even though I have two upright basses and one of them's over 300 years old,
Mhm.
I still have totally modern technology on an incredibly beautiful Italian bass. So it's like I like trying to make it as good as possible and cutting edge as possible. But when I record it on a record, I stick a microphone in front of it and that's it.
Hmm.
It's like the instrument sings and that's it. I don't plug it in. It's just microphones and I play. So
Yeah.
it's about that balance between, again, your sound is in your hands.
Hmm.
When I play live, like when I come to play the festival in November,
Correct.
you know, I'm going to plug it into an amplifier, but it's still my sound.
Yeah.
It's just going to be coming in from plugging in from an amplifier, right?
Yeah.
So I like working on setup and evolution and things like that. But I have the same rules with the acoustic bass. I want it to be comfortable. I want to enjoy playing it. If I don't enjoy playing my instrument, why am I playing it? If it's hard to play, if I'm fighting my instrument to get a sound, or fighting it to get a sustain, or fighting it to move up to the upper register or something, then is that joyful? I want it to be joyful. I want to be able to to experiment. I want to be able to, the way I say it is, I want to be able to jump off the diving board not knowing if there's water in the pool or not. Meaning I want to just go for it, and trust that everything's going to be okay. If I'm fighting my instrument, then all of my energy is going to just to try to play the instrument when my energy should be going to playing the music on the instrument. So it's important that things are set up well and thought about and comfortable. But that's just my approach.
Super. I'd like to now touch upon your music, right? Yeah.
Sure.
the body of work. We spoke a lot about the performance aspect, the posture, and efficiency when it comes to the instrument, and a lot of other interesting topics. Let us kind of delve deeper into your albums, right? So
Sure.
speaking about some of your early smooth jazz albums like Magic Rain, it dominated the radio, but then you pivoted into straight ahead acoustic projects like Wood, then It's About Time. So what triggered that departure, and what did you want to prove to yourself and to the industry or to the instrument itself?
Um, it's not about proving anything. It's about the fact that I love both,
Mm,
and I don't want to just pick one,
mm,
right? I love food from all over the world. There's great food all over the world, but I don't want to just pick one. I want to experience all of them, you know?
mm.
So why should I do that with music? If
Yep.
I love playing funky stuff and electric bass and smooth jazz and contemporary jazz and fusion and instrumental rock, if I love all this stuff, why should I give all that up just to play one instrument and one style? So for me, it's not about trying to prove anything. I have nothing to prove. It doesn't matter. For me, it's about I really enjoy writing and playing and producing the contemporary jazz and the funky stuff and the melodic stuff. And I love playing the electric bass. And I love playing my acoustic bass and playing traditional jazz and shutting my eyes and just playing, with my 300-year-old Italian bass. I love that. There's nothing better in the world. But why should I pick one when they're both part of who I am? So that's
Fair enough.
why.
Fair enough.
I like to record both. And I just did a Scott LaFaro tribute record that
Yep.
came out,
Of course.
it's beautiful. I love it. I'm very proud of it. You
Mm,
know, why should I not do that if it means something to me just because I have smooth jazz success or contemporary jazz success on the electric bass? It's
mm,
like they both mean something to me. Um, to me, there's two kinds of music in this world:
mm,
music that's played well and music that's not played well. That's it. If it's good, it's good. I don't care what it is. And for me, I enjoy the challenge of different genres. I enjoy the challenge and the freedom of traditional jazz. I enjoy the melodic sense and the groove of smooth jazz when it's good, or contemporary jazz. I love playing my electric bass. I love playing my piccolo bass, and I love playing my upright bass. To me, it's all me. So that's why I do it. That's why I did it. I have nothing to prove. What am I going to prove? There's nothing to prove. It's I do it because I just personally love doing it. And when you dedicate your life to something and you practice for half your life, and you want to reach a high level of playing, you're doing it for one reason. And
mm,
that reason is because it means something to you and you enjoy it and you love it. That's it. So whether I'm playing traditional straight ahead jazz or contemporary funky jazz, it makes no difference to me. It's all part of me. It's all music, and I just try to do it at the highest level possible. And I appreciate, like, when I go through periods where I'm doing all the contemporary funky stuff and then I play my upright, it's just like, oh man, this is great. I'm playing my upright. It's like it's such a nice release. Same way with the other. If I'm playing a bunch of jazz gigs and then I go and I do the funky stuff, it's just like, oh man, this is cool. I'm getting fun. It's like it's great because it always keeps you fresh. It keeps you growing. It keeps you evolving, and
yeah.
it always keeps you on your toes because the bottom line is that I'm the weak link in all of it. It is up to me to keep the level up and the musicianship up and to be the best I can be. And that's why I love doing all of it because it forces me to be better. And I really enjoy both music, all the different styles of music. So that's why I do it.
I love the spirit, and the motivation that keeps you going. It's
Well,
incredible.
but
Yeah.
think
Mm,
about it. It's true though. I mean, do you want to eat the same meal 3 days, 3 times a day for the rest
yeah.
of your life?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Every
No.
once in a while, it's nice to go get to go get some spaghetti or go have a taco or go have some curry or go have some Thai noodles. It's cool, right? It's
Right.
like it brings joy, right? So for me, that's how I look at it. But the bottom line is, it's all music.
Correct.
So I still have to perform within whatever that genre is. I still have to perform authentically to the best of my ability within whatever it is, So it's a challenge, but I love the challenge.
Mm. On a lot of funkier tracks like Thicker Than Water, you layer multiple bass parts in different registers. We already spoke a fair bit
Mhm.
on this idea. But having a live use case such as this particular track, how do you decide which range each part should occupy to avoid frequency masking?
Again, it depends on what instrument I'm going to play, and when I write something or arrange something, or when you think about performing, remember I talked about all those different levels of the building, right? I
Right.
make sure that the bass, the bottom, is the bottom. So I play one thing I do, whether it's good, bad, right, or wrong, I don't know, and I don't care actually. But when I play the five string, I really play probably more bottom notes and low notes than most people do.
Mm.
I stay down there longer than most do,
Mm.
which in a normal situation, I don't know if that's necessarily the most musical or the best thing to do. But in my situation, if I'm playing a four-string bass on top of the five-string bass, just exactly what you said, I have to separate those frequencies.
Mm. Mm.
So I play low foundation on one, and then I play higher on the other one, and then they don't clash anymore.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's what I do. So I'll play the different instruments. If it's a bass part, I'll play above the bass part. So it's not the same thing over and over again like this, right? That's arranging, that's producing, that's using your ears, trying to think about what to do. So
Yeah.
every instrument or every bass, if you're going to be using multiple basses, has a home.
Mm.
And that's
Mm.
why that's why I mentioned the Jimi Hendrix record, because it's all bass. It's all me. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot more opportunity for clash. It's up to me to make sure there is no clash.
Yeah.
So low is low, mid is mid, high is high. They never cross paths. You don't know the difference. It sounds like music. That's
Mm.
what I try to do, is to make sure that they don't fight. The hardest thing sometimes, especially with young musicians, is when you get piano players and guitar players playing at the same time, especially in colleges and in big bands and things like that, because they're playing, it's two different instruments, but they're playing in the same register, playing the same function in the music at the same time. So the piano player is comping, the guitar player is comping, the piano player is playing in this register, the guitar player is playing in the same register, and they're playing essentially the same parts at the same time, constantly doing this. It's
Mm.
really, really difficult for young guitar players and piano players to truly learn what to do when. So sometimes it'll be like, okay, piano player, you play the first chorus, guitar player, you play the second chorus, and they just sit there like this, waiting for their turn. Or you learn, well, if the piano player is going to do this, then the guitar player is going to do something completely different,
Right.
right?
Right.
Now you're not clashing. Now
Mm.
you're using your instrument and you're finding a different role. Like, for example, if a piano player is playing chords and sustaining things, then the guitar player should play single note, whatever, completely different part. They don't clash anymore. But when they're both playing chords and moving around, they're playing exactly the same role at the same time in the same register, and that causes problems.
Mm.
So you really have to use your ears and understand who's doing what
Right.
when
Right.
to find your spot. And I do that with the bass when I record multiple basses. I don't record three different takes in the same register. I make sure that the tunings are different, that if one bass is down low, the other bass is going to be up high. So there's never this. It's always
Mm.
this. But you got to use your ears and you got to use your mind. You got to think about it.
Mm. Another interesting facet is you're known for your incredibly low action setups, and a lot of players have said that they can't play your setups that comfortably, which is very unique when it comes to how you do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like, again, it's two things. One, it goes back to, I don't want to fight my instrument.
Mm.
And if their instruments aren't set up comfortably,
Yeah.
That's on them, not on me. That's number one. Number two, my setup came from the fact that doctors told me that if I don't change how I play, I'm going to never be able to play again.
Mm, mm.
And I had doctors wanting to do surgery on my arms because I had so many mineral deposits on my tendons from my tendonitis that
Oh
they
no.
actually wanted to cut my arms open and scrape the mineral deposits off my tendons. And it's
My
like, there's no
goodness.
way you're cutting my arms. So I had a choice. Either I change how I do what I do, or I'm going to lose the ability to play music.
Mm,
What
mm,
would you choose? So I learned how to set my instruments up where they're comfortable. I do a lot of two-handed technique where I'm playing, I'm hammering,
mm,
right? You can't do
mm,
that when you have a really big scoop in your fingerboard and the strings are this high. You know, I, you know, you adapt, you figure out what you need to do to achieve what you want to achieve. Well, I want to play music and I want to play the bass and I've got injuries. So this is what I have to do to be able to play music and play the bass. So this is what I'm going to do.
mm.
And then I just learned how to do it and get a good sound. And I mean, you can't, you know, how do I say this? Number one, I don't really care what anybody thinks of my setup or my playing or anything because I don't play for them. I play for me. I just don't care, you know. Number one. Number two, listen to my bass sound on wood. Listen to my bass sound on the LaFaro record. Sounds pretty good.
Hmm.
It's fat, it's warm, you hear every note, it's crystal clear. I play in tune, you know, you can hear my finger pluck the string. What more do you need? Am I supposed to prove something? You know, do I have to join the club of like, oh man, you got to have strings this high and play as hard as you can without an amp, and now you're a bass player? No, I don't think so. They did that in the 30s and 40s because they didn't have setups or amps, you
Mm.
know. So it's like, I mean, I used to talk to Ray Brown about this all the time before Ray passed. I used to call him Uncle Ray. You know, he'd say, he's like, man, all these guys, they just, you know, they play without an amp and they do all this stuff and they think they're cool and blah blah blah. He's like, we did that because we had to. He's like, are you kidding me? He's like, I'd never do that again in my life. He's like, they're crazy, you know. So whatever, you know, it's like I learned how to get a sound out of my instrument. I learned how to pull a sound out of my instrument.
Mm.
My upright bass, my Italian bass taught me how to do that. It forced me to learn how to play it. Anybody who's played my bass completely overplays it because they have no idea how to get a sound out of my instrument. It's not
Mm.
their instrument. They wouldn't, right? So you can't just go pick up something that you've never played
Yeah.
and expect to be like, brink. You've never played it. You have no idea what you're doing on my instrument, and now
Mm.
you're making judgments. It just makes no sense whatsoever, you know. So
Right.
what I I say this as respectfully as possible. I just don't care. I play for me. I make the music I want to make. I play the way I play. I can't
Yeah.
play any other way, and that's it. And people don't have to listen to me if they don't like it. And if they like it, that's great. I'm glad they hear something good in it. You know, I guess I've had a long career. I've had recording contracts for 30, 40 years. I guess I must be doing something right, you know, so I can't complain. But I think it's really important for people to find their own voice
Right.
and to not judge others for their voices, like
Right.
guitar players judging Stanley Jordan because he doesn't play like other guitar players do.
Right.
Does that mean that what he's doing is bad or wrong?
Not at
It
all.
just means that he found a different way to do what he does using his fingers instead of a pick and playing the way he plays. It's remarkable, right?
Of course. Of course.
Is it wrong? No, it's just different. So what?
Mm.
That's that you bring up an interesting point. Too many people
Mm-hmm.
listen with their eyes.
Mm.
Listen with your ears. Is it musical? Does it sound good? Does it swing? Is it lyrical? Is it in tune? Does it feel right? Is it the right notes? Is there creativity there? Is there honesty and integrity in the playing? Well, all of that you judge by this,
Of
not
course.
by this.
Mm.
People need to listen with their ears.
Beautiful. That was very, very beautifully articulated. So,
Truth, at least for me, it's my
yeah,
truth.
yeah, yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad you spoke it out loud for the people out there. who are listening.
Look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's good. I
Yeah.
don't, and when I say I don't care, that doesn't mean I'm being disrespectful. It means everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Sure. Sure.
It's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's like it's your opinion. It's cool. But
Mm.
you can't take my world and judge me for me and my experiences and my injuries and all this other stuff. You can't, and then you maybe pluck my bass once and go, oh, I can't play it. It's like you can't take that and judge an entire career
Mm.
and lifespan because of one experience where you have absolutely no relationship with anything other than that second, right? It's
Correct.
like that's where it's just like, come on, man. Like, no,
Mm.
just listen to the music. It's
Yeah.
like, and if you want to go listen to somebody else, listen to somebody else. But
Mm. Mm.
don't take away what somebody's bringing to the, it's like, there's 5,000 guitar players. Do you like every one of them? Of course not. But are you going to listen to a bunch of them and go, wow, he's great? It's like, wow, Pat Metheny's great. Joe Pass is great. John McLaughlin's great. Jimi Hendrix is great. Is one better than the other? They're all completely different.
Correct.
George Benson's great. Segovia was great.
Mm.
They're all different. You're going to
Different.
say one's better than the other? That's the point. Let them be
Right.
who they are.
Right. Beautiful. Beautiful. You reharmonize Chicago's tune in a way that shifts its emotional core, right, in your own inimitable style. Can you walk us through the harmonic decisions you made, and how did you balance reverence for the original with your own sensibilities?
Which tune are you talking about?
I'm talking about, does anybody really know what
You
time
know
it
what
is?
time it is?
Yeah.
Um, it's just such a good, it's such a feel good song,
Mm,
right?
mm.
It just, it's, I did that song for a couple reasons. One,
Okay.
it's just a really happy, feel good song.
Mm,
It's impossible to listen to that song and not be in a good mood.
mm.
It's just such a great song, right?
Sure, sure.
That's number one. Number two, it's a jazz song. The original hit
Mm,
30, 40 years ago, it swings, it's walking bass, it's a horn section. It's a jazz tune. It just happened to be a pop hit from a pop band.
yeah.
But if you think about it, at its core, it's walking, ding, 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 ding. It's jazz.
Mm,
So it was like, wait a second. Here's this really feel good, memorable, beautiful melodic track that millions of people know that's swinging. Why not do it?
mm.
For me, it was like, it's not that much different than the original if you think about it. Same basic tempo, same basic vibe, swinging straight ahead, and it's just really fun. There's a couple things I did change, but slightly. I don't. A lot of those things. I just do really little things that make, sometimes less is more, and you just make a little different. You change one chord, or you change one thing, or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's all it is. So it's like, again, like what feels comfortable. Do I want to, like, literally cover it exactly the way they did it, or do I want to just do something a little bit that makes it mine? So I change a couple little things here and there, but you instantly know, even though the original trumpet lick and all that stuff in the beginning isn't there, you still know what song it is immediately. It's like you still know. So I just try to change things just a little bit to make it mine
Okay.
versus copying something else.
Yeah.
Um, but what a feel good song.
Mm.
It just such a nice vehicle for the piccolo bass, and
Right.
it's melodic and it just feels good. And that's why I did it. It just feels great. I love that song.
Yeah. Yeah. So do I.
Yeah, just put you in a good mood. It's
yeah.
like, come
Yeah.
on, it's like,
Just uplift
how
you.
can you be in a bad mood with that song,
Correct, 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 correct.
Yeah.
Well, yet another wonderful tribute was to the one and only Jaco Pastorius.
Yeah.
While taking on Teen Town and the Chicken, you weren't just honoring Jaco, but you were stepping into another, multi-dimensional vocabulary, if I may put it that way. Uh, so, how did you draw a parallel when it comes to this particular context, and what was your perspective behind crafting this?
But that record, That record was not my idea. I never would have done that record. I never would have thought. I used to know Jocko. We hung out several times.
Right.
I met him when I was in my early 20s, and we had mutual friends. And he had heard me play. I didn't even know it.
Hmm.
And we used to play together. He really liked my playing. He really liked me.
Hmm.
Obviously, he was brilliant. He was like, you know, meeting him was like a deity. Nobody did what he
Yeah.
did for the bass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was crazy to hang with him and meet with him and play with him. It was remarkable. And but I never ever would have done a Jocko record. But the same um, record company president in Tokyo, Japan, wanted me to. He had an idea to do a Jaco Pastorius tribute record that he wanted to do for Jocko's 50th birthday had he lived.
Hmm.
So it was going to be released on his 50th birthday, his
Okay.
anniversary, because he had died before then. Um, and they wanted me to produce it, and they wanted me to get an all-star cast of bass players. So they wanted me to get like 10 or 12 bass players play on it. And I was only going to play on one song. And everybody got to pick a song and play it and do anything they wanted. It was a decent budget. Anybody, it's like, pick a song, do what you want. They just wanted me to produce the record and have all these great bass players as a tribute to Jocko.
Hmm.
Every bass player I asked to play on the record, and you know all of them, they're all famous.
Yeah.
Every bass player I asked to play on the record bailed out and didn't do it.
Hmm.
So I had already started production, and I I had to reach out to the record company in Japan and just say, I am so sorry you trusted me with this production. No one wants to play on the record. No one wants to do it.
Hmm.
They're not saying why. They're like, I can't do it. They didn't want to do it. I don't know if it was me, if it was Jocko. I don't know what it was, but they just didn't want to do it.
Okay.
So they said, we'll make it a Brian Bromberg record.
Hmm.
And I freaked out. I didn't sleep for like a week. It's like, the hell am I going to do? It's like it would be the most scrutinized bass record in history if I do a Jaco Pastorius record, right? It's just like I can't do this. It's like, and they're like, no, you got to do it. You got to. Anyway. So I finished the record. I did the record, and that's how it happened. It fell in my lap. I never would have done it. But what was important for me was to try to find a way to make it my own.
Hmm.
And there's nothing on that record where I copied anything Jocko did, where I tried to out Jocko. I mean, who cares? It's like I I made it mine, which is why I played a lot of acoustic bass on it, which is why I drastically changed some of the songs, like Teen Town,
Hmm.
completely changed the vibe of Teen Town. Portrait of Tracy, which was a solo piece, I turned into this completely, I made it really as me as possible, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because it's about my interpretation of in my honoring Jocko. Well, why
Hmm.
would I do what he did? Like on Come On, Come Over, I played five string. Jocko didn't play five string. There was no five string bass in those days, right? But I
Hmm.
played the low doo doo down there, the low C on the five string. Sounds great. It works perfectly. I made it different from what Jocko did, right? So that was the key. Teen Town, I made it completely different. I slowed it down. I made it funky, kind of hip hoppy, played upright on it, changed the vibe. I wanted to make it my own. So when I look at the whole record, from a distance and look at the whole production, I'm very, very proud of it. Um,
You
it
should
was
be.
very scary. I
Yeah.
was extremely
Yeah.
scared to do it because I knew it would be scrutinized. I mean, I had guys. There was some fan of Jocko's in Germany that wrote. This is the beauty of the internet. He just wrote. I don't know what site it was on or whatever. I just remember seeing it. Um, he just wrote paragraph after paragraph of just shredding the record, hating the cover, hating this, and hating me, just like bam, bam, all the way down. And then down at the bottom of what he said, he goes, now, I admit I haven't heard it yet, but it has to be like this. So he didn't even hear the record, and
Yeah.
he's just like destroying me in the whole process. It's just like,
Oh
dude,
goodness.
why don't you listen to it first and then tell me, right? It's like, come
Yeah.
on, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was the key important thing for me is that I had a relationship with Jocko, so it meant something to me.
Okay.
But more importantly than that, I had to make it mine. And if I
Mm.
couldn't make it mine, I have no business doing it. But the fact that I made it mine, you know, is what's important, and
Of course.
it made me feel better about it because I made it mine. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound
Yeah.
like Jocko. I didn't learn Jocko licks. Same thing with the Hendrix record. I didn't learn one Jimi Hendrix lick.
Mm.
I
Mm.
didn't. Why try to emulate somebody who you can't emulate? What's the point of doing it,
Of
right?
course. Of course.
So that's how that happened. So
Nice.
I'm glad I did it. It was really challenging. I never would have made that record, but I'm
Mm.
really glad they asked me to do it, and it was challenging, but it was a pleasure to do. So, and I'm happy with the way it turned out.
It was a pleasure listening to it as well, Brian. I
Thank
must
you.
say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Well,
I appreciate it.
let's come to the most important topic of discussion, the NCPA Jazz Festival finale featuring Brian Bromberg.
Yeah.
That's gonna be incredible, and I can't wait to fly down from Bangalore to Mumbai.
Uh,
I'm
uh,
waiting. I'm waiting to come this time with my wife.
nice.
Yeah, so it's the first time we're going to experience this. So I'm interested in knowing what is going to comprise of your contingent and how did you select the set of musicians who are going to be playing along with you? And what story do you hope to tell across the set for the people of India?
Well, I mean, first, I mean, for me, it's so cool that they reached out and wanted me to do this. It means the world to me.
Mm.
I only played in India once. It was in 1980 when
Oh,
I was a
wow.
teenager with Stan Getz, at Jazz Yatra,
Wow.
and I was 19. Yeah, so that was a long, long, long time ago,
I think
and
Mr. Louis Bangs was also part of Jazz Yatra, if I'm not mistaken.
I I don't
Yeah.
remember. I don't. It was so long ago.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so it's been a long, long, long time.
Okay.
So I was really touched that they wanted me to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Um, the I asked them what they wanted me to do, and they
Okay.
wanted me to play the acoustic bass. They wanted me to play
Okay.
jazz.
Wow.
They liked my LaFaro record and some other things. So because I was going to bring my funky band because that's what I've been doing, but they wanted me to do the acoustic thing, which is great. So
Mm. Mm.
what I'm doing is I have a traditional jazz quintet. So I
Okay.
have the same trio from the LaFaro record,
Mm.
and then a trumpet player and a sax player. So
Wow.
it's five piece, and we're going to do songs from Downright Upright, which is my
Okay.
Grammy nominated CD. We're going to do songs from Full Circle. We're going to do a couple other things. We'll do a few things from LaFaro.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like half kind of groovy, funky jazz, and
Right.
some straight ahead stuff. And then I will also have my electric bass because I always travel with it. If I can find a way to bring it into the set, like maybe end the show with the electric or something like that, I'll
That'd
do
be
that,
killer. That'd be killer.
which would
Yeah.
be fun,
Yeah.
but it's much more of a jazz quintet vibe, and everybody's
Okay.
great, and everybody plays great, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to do a nice mix
Okay.
of music, which is cool. So people, it'll be songs that they don't know and a lot of songs they do know. So it's going to be really fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, what they're doing down there is fantastic, and Mike Stern and Dennis Chambers are going to be down there, and they're friends of mine. They're amazing. I play with them
Nice.
both. So it's cool that there's all these great players there. It's really neat. I hope we have a nice crowd, and I look forward to it very much.
It's the best time of the year.
That's great.
So yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be one hell of a uh, night, of course,
That's great.
experience.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
We really love playing together, and everybody gets along really well.
right.
So it's going to be fun,
Yeah,
and everybody's musicianship is great. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it very much so.
super. In the interest of time, I'd like to come to the last part of our agenda, which is a very quick rapid fire with Brian
Oh shit!
Bromberg. Let's get right into it. So, what's that one song that always makes you cry when you listen to it, Brian?
Everything that I did because I could make it better. Oh man. Impossible to answer, to be honest with you. I will
Okay.
say this.
Okay.
I know this is a rapid fire. Let me just, it's been a really emotional couple years for me. I went through a very contentious split up in a relationship. I
I'm sorry
moved
about
three,
that.
I moved three times. I broke my back. I
Mm.
fell and broke my back at the end of 2023. It's been a really, I had COVID 3 times. I mean, it's been a really very challenging period of my life. And I will
Mm.
tell you, I've written a lot of music in the
Okay.
past couple years. And there's a couple songs that I wrote that literally, when I'd write them and then I'd like get away from them for a minute and then I'd listen again. There were a couple things that I wrote that literally would bring tears to my eyes because I could hear the emotion in me. I could hear what I was going through in the music, and some of the melodies were really beautiful. That that hadn't really happened before.
Mm.
I can listen to something and be emotional, but this actually brought tears.
Okay.
So that was amazing for me and very cathartic. So but there's a lot of beautiful music, and there's and the power of a melody. A rhythm won't make you cry, but a melody will.
Mm.
And the power of the melody and what it means emotionally is pretty amazing. So I
Right.
know I didn't really answer the question, but it's a really hard question to answer.
Do you have a favorite guilty pleasure song?
Um, Well, just the whole Jimi Hendrix record because I get to shred I
Yeah.
get to shred and be a rock guy, which is
Right.
cool because that
Yeah.
whole thing would be guilty pleasure. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it doesn't sound like me. You would have if you haven't heard it. I mean,
Yeah.
it you would have no clue unless you knew my playing. You would have no clue that it's a jazz guy doing. I mean, the whole thing is guilty pleasure. Trust me.
Mm.
It's like a heavy metal record. It's great.
Nice. You've often said that you want to put every ounce of who I am into your music.
Right.
Looking back, which album feels most like a distilled version of Brian Bromberg, the artist, and which one stretched out to you the furthest outside your comfort zone?
Oh, well, like some of the ones that we talked about that were totally outside my comfort zone. The label in Japan had asked me to do several things that I never would have done. I
Okay,
did a I did a solo acoustic bass record called Hands.
correct.
Just improvised,
Mm.
a whole record of just bass, completely improvised, no
Mm.
preparation.
Right.
I was petrified to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Scared me to death. Um, um, but I'm really glad I did it. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. It was
Okay.
hard, but I'm really glad I did it. That's something that I'd never ever would have thought of doing. So there's
Mm.
been a few records that I've done that I just never would have thought of doing. I would say to answer the question, I couldn't say from a record. I would have to say there are songs
Mm-hmm.
throughout my records, going back to my first record up until now, where there are some songs that even to this day, there are a few things that are just like, wow, that's really amazing. To like, oh my God, that's really horrible. Why did you do that? It's because I was young and I didn't know the difference. I didn't know what to do. So, but if I go back and listen to everything within the body of work of a record, I will hear things that are moving, things that are powerful, things that I'm incredibly proud of, and things that, oh man, why did I do that? I really wish I could do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Where some things are embarrassing, other things, even 30 years later, you can hear the integrity in it. So I wouldn't say there's a record like that, but in each record, there are going to be songs that are here and here, right? Where there's moments where, wow, that's really moving. And I really feel me in the music. I can feel my heart. I can feel what I'm going through. And then other things, it would just be like, the hell are you thinking? It's like, why did you do that? Both happening on the same record. It's kind of funny.
Nice. What's your favorite cuisine?
All of it. I love food. Seriously, I cook all my meals. I rarely go out when I literally do all my I buy everything. I get organic in grass-fed meat. I mean, I'm not a good cook, but I enjoy it. It's like chill. I truly love all kinds of food.
Okay.
Um, because it's the world. I love Indian food. I love Chinese food. I love Thai food. I love Japanese food. I love Italian food. I love American food. It's like I love it all. I love Mexican food. It's like every food has culture. Within culture, there's history and heritage. You can taste it every region has ingredients, so I mean, I couldn't have been a chef. I'd be a bad chef, but I could have been a chef. It's like every food has history. It's got, and I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's one of the things. I think it's one of the things in society, you know, politics kills people, religion kills people, you know, hatred kills people. Food brings everybody together.
Together. Yeah.
And I don't care who you are, where you're from, if it's good, it's good,
Mm,
And
mm,
that's the thing about food that I love is that you can taste the history, you can taste the region.
of
I
course.
can tell, even like with even something as simple as Mexican food. I can tell, same with Italian food, whether it's Northern Italian or Southern Italian, they're different. You can taste the difference in the sauce, in the flavor, because they're just a little different. And this region does it this way, this region does it this way. And I'm sure it's the same thing in India as well, where the north to south, it's going to be a little different. What country are you bordering? Are you going to get some influence from that other country? I think it's fascinating because you can really taste the difference, and food brings people together.
Well, I'd be delighted to take you out for lunch or dinner if time permits, and then probably give
I,
you an
I
experience of Mumbai. Yeah.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really true. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
food brings people together,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
It's levels the playing field instantly. I love it. We're all the
Nice.
same. I love it.
Nice. Nice. If you had to describe your experience being on my podcast, Stalwarts of Music, how would you describe it?
It's great. You ask really educated, smart questions. You ask real questions, um, and it makes you think. Anytime that you are asked questions where you have to think about the answer, I think is a good thing
Well,
because some things are really simple and easy, you know, that you're going to have not just a generic answer, but it's just a generic answer. It's because of the nature of the question. But when you ask a question that makes you think about what you felt or what you thought or why you did what you did, right? That's a good thing. So it's been a pleasure because you made me think about some of the things that I did and why I did them and how I did them. So it's important that we think, and you ask questions that make you think. And for me, I look back, and like, oh, well, let me think about that. Oh, wow. So it's nice because then I could get into why I did what I did. Why did I layer something this way? Why did I play this bass on this song? Right? What, you asked about the Chicago song, things like that. Why did I do this? Right? Things like that. It makes you think. I think that's a great thing.
well, thank you so much. Means a lot coming from you. On that note, I have one last question for today. Down in
Sure.
the distant horizon, what would you like to be remembered as?
Most importantly, a nice guy. It's like life's too short to be mean. Life's too short to
Yeah,
be nasty.
yeah.
Um, I When it comes to music, I would want people to, whether you like my playing or my music or not, is less important, as he was honest with himself. He gave 100%, and he was fearless in what he did. And you, I'm not saying greatness, but you can't argue with greatness. Meaning, if you do something at a high level, even if it's not your thing, I don't play hockey, I don't play ice hockey. I never will. But that doesn't mean that I can't respect somebody that does it at the highest level and go, wow, that was amazing, right? It's like, I just want people to know that I gave 100% to what I did and that I did it all with integrity, and to appreciate the person behind what you hear, because without that person, none of it matters.
Beautiful. That's a great answer for a closure. This interview will be additionally aired on the Sunday primetime radio show between 5 to 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time on Big FM Shillong and Aizawl. It'll also be out on my YouTube channel, Aditya Veera 1994. Thank you so much once again, Brian. It's been such an incredible blessing, honor, and a privilege. Take care. Bye bye. Have a
All right,
nice
take care.
day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.